In this video, I'm going to talk about what you can and what you can't control when it comes to your physique. And what you can't control, we're just going to get right into it, is extremely important to understand. And it's also meaningless. And that is your genetics. What your muscles are actually shaped like, where they attach. The difference in Chris Bumstead winning the Mr. Olympia and the guy who came in last place who you've never heard of. Look, that guy who came in last place you've never heard of is obviously jacked and super ripped, but he came in last place. Why? Because he doesn't have the genetics for the way his muscles are shaped, the proportions, where the insertion points are, all this technical stuff. Now remember, we major in the majors. We don't major in the minors. And all we care about is you being better than you were yesterday, last week, last month. It's important to understand, and it's also meaningless. That thing that you can't control is whether your chest is attached perfectly all the way down in the middle. It's extremely rare. So if you're wondering like, why doesn't my chest look like, or, or my biceps or people's abs have different shapes and symmetry, none of that matters. It's important to understand, and it's important to understand that you should never compare yourself to other people. Oh, the most original advice ever. Don't compare. And now let's get into the good news, all the things that you can control that are so important to your weightlifting journey and maxing out your physique for you so you can control how much muscle you have and how much fat you have. And the way you do that in three broad strokes, I'm going to give you the three things. I'm going to give you the three things that you can control. And this is what you want to focus on. Number one, you can control how you eat. How you eat determines both the amount of muscle and the amount of fat you have on your body. It controls the amount of muscle you have on your body by how much protein you're eating. You need to be eating at least 0.8 up to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that you have. So that's how what you eat controls how much muscle and how much fat you have in terms of the total calories. You have to figure out your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. I remember there was a time when I was thinking, wait, how am I ever going to lose weight if I have to burn like thousands of calories? And I was only thinking about what I would burn extra through exercise. There was a time when I had no idea about something called your basal metabolic rate. So your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is the amount of calories that you burn just by existing. And that number is pretty high. I mean, especially if you're a large man, but just in general, it's higher than you think. So you burn a lot of calories just by existing. And that's your BMR. Your TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, is going to be the exercise you do on top of that. Now, very importantly, you don't want to overestimate your TDEE. Eating is so important. It's one of the biggest things you can control, and it has a massive, massive impact on how much muscle you have and how much fat you have. And it's very important to keep these two things in mind when it comes to how you're eating. One, don't overestimate your TDEE. When you go online to get one of these calculators, if you just Google it, TDEE calculator, you'll find it immediately. It's free. Don't pay for anything. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is figure out your TDEE and make sure that you don't overestimate the calories that you're burning through exercise. Like, be conservative with that. And then when it comes to eating, you have to track everything in a food journal, at least for a bit. You have to do it, because if you don't, you'll get it so wrong. They've done countless studies on this, and people are horrible. Humans are naturally horrible at guessing how many calories we eat and guess which direction they're wrong in. Yeah, you smart. You got it. They drastically underestimate how many total calories they're eating. So they're like, why am I not losing weight? I'm definitely eating healthy and I'm on a diet. No, you're not. You're eating way more than you think. Way more than you think. You have to keep a food journal. And the other reason you have to keep the food journal is to know that you're getting your protein in. If you're not used to it, then it's difficult to get 150, 200 grams of protein in a day. You have to really train yourself on the diet. And the diet's so important. When I say diet, I just mean the way that you habitually eat. I don't mean doing something special or short term. Just your diet is the way that you eat. So That's the number one thing. It's not the number one thing. I just mean it's the first one I got to. Okay. So you can control how much muscle you have, how much fat you have. You control that by how you eat. You have to keep a food journal so you know how many total calories you're eating to know whether you're going to be bulking, cutting, or maintaining based on your TDEE. So you get your TDEE. And then if you're eating 10, 20% fewer calories than that, then you, my friend, are in a wonderful cutting phase. And then if you're eating enough protein and you're nailing your workouts, you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. I have done it before. My trainer, Menno Henselman, confirmed it at the time. He was like, I'm looking at all your data. So by the way, I was working with this guy, Menno Henselman. Quick side story. As a trainer, and I'm tracking every single thing I eat in a food journal, and I'm tracking every workout exactly, all these lifts, what I'm lifting. I'm tracking my weight. I'm tracking my waist measurement. I'm tracking body fat calipers. I'm doing pinching on these key areas to determine my body fat percentage. And he's looking at all those data with me over time. And at some point he's saying, Trevor, you're doing it. You're recomping. You're recomping, Trevor. You are losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. So it is possible, but it's really difficult. And I think it's also especially more possible for beginners. I mean, if you are a total beginner and you're a little squeezy, okay? And you don't have a lot of muscle, then you can absolutely lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. Okay, that's enough about that. Is how you eat, why it's so important. It's one of the biggest things you can control, and it's so important. So keep all that in mind. The second thing you can control is how you lift. Hey, Booby, you didn't lift. Don't be like Booby Miles. You need to lift, okay? Really, as many days a week as you can. If you can lift 7 days a week, lift 7 days a week and getting all into it. Now, you don't need to do that. We can keep things really basic, really simple. But look, as many days as you can stand to lift weights and know that you can make it to the gym and commit to that, then do it. But you control how you lift. The most important things on controlling how you lift are the intensity and the progressive overload and the exercise selection. Okay, that's 3 things. And they're all super important. Like, you can't not do any of those. Got some get up. Love to see it. Okay, so how you lift. You control in how you lift the intensity with which you lift when you're in your workouts. And that is, as we've talked about before, if I don't complete this lift, my whole family dies, I'm gay. Or if you're straight, if you're gay, then you're straight if you don't complete the lift. Okay, those are the rules. So that's how you need to lift, with that kind of intensity. And the progressive overload and exercise selection also is equally important. It's like that quote that's like, baseball's 90% mental and the other half physical. I don't know why I did that accent, and I don't know who said it. Maybe Hank Aaron, maybe Babe Ruth, maybe neither of those guys. Point is, you want to lift the same few exercises. Don't go switching up the exercises all the time, because then your body's just going to be adapting to those new exercises. You want to stick to some basic core lifts, and then make sure that you are tracking at least your first real working set after you've warmed up. Make sure you're tracking the weight and the reps. And you got to be aware of the form. Look, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here. It's okay if you're new and you're like, it's all right. We're going to go through it all together, okay? And there'll be some more breakdown guided videos, how to lift, how to make sure your form is in check. But just know that that's important when it comes to how you lift. It's important to lift intensely. It's important to choose the right exercises. As an example, the only thing I do for my back these days is lat pull downs. I don't even do rows. They're kind of suboptimal for your lats. You got some biceps in there, but I also do bicep curls because, hey, I probably overtrain my biceps. I think everybody should. That's okay. Everybody wants big arms, big biceps, triceps. Don't forget the triceps are 2/3 of the arm. I digress. Well, I don't digress. I dive deep. Let's get back to the point. Exercise selection, very important. So I'll go over some beginner exercise selection tips as well. But just know, when it comes to controlling how you lift, the exercise selection, very important. Lifting super intensely when you're in there working out, very important. And also engaging in progressive overload. So make sure that week over week, month over month, you are lifting more weight within the given exercise, or you are lifting the same weight but for more reps, or you are lifting the same weight, even with the same reps, but with stricter, smoother slower, more intense mind-muscle connection form. So you got 3 options for progressive overload. You can be increasing the weight, which for beginners, I highly don't recommend trying to increase the weight. Be patient. You're going to be lifting weights the rest of your life, okay? At age 75, he still lifts weights. You'll be lifting weights for the rest of your life. Once you get into this, once you get over the hump, once you start to build your physique, there's no going back. You can't unring the bell. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. The genie that grants you the wish of having more muscle and less fat. So be patient when you're getting into your lifting. Don't be trying to increase the weight too quickly, okay? Now, the third thing that you can control. All right, so I said you can control your eating. Talked all about that. Done. You can control how you lift. Talked about that. Done. Third thing, what you can control. This is so critically important. I probably should have said it first, but I saved. All right, fine. I saved the best for last. And without this thing, nothing else matters. Okay? I mean it. It's how you rest. You have got to rest and recover properly. You have to get good sleep. Don't stay up all night drinking. You got to drink less. Like, I'm not saying you have to stop drinking, but if you drink a lot, if you're drinking a lot 3 days a week, you got to stop. Okay? Tone that down. Meditate more. Find other things to do. You can't be messing up your sleep and making progress in the gym. You can't. You cannot train hard, eat well, and then go out all night partying 3 days a week, Sunday fun day, and get results. You can't do it. Okay. You have to, I'm talking to my younger self here. You have to make some changes if you are drinking too much and you're not getting good sleep and resting enough, sleeping enough. Because if you're not getting good rest, if you're not getting good sleep, if you're drinking too much, then the eating, the training, the lifting, it's all for nothing. Okay. So if you're going to be putting the focus, time, and energy to track everything you're eating, which you are, and get all your protein, which you are, and lift intensely with the right exercise selection and progressive overload, then do yourself the favor of resting properly so that all that stuff actually works. You got to do that. You got to get good sleep, 7 to 9 hours, depending on what feels right for you. And that's that. So that's what you can't control. That's what you can control. And as I said, the good news is the thing that you can't control doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you might get caught up for 2 seconds, but as soon as you start to make your own progress, that's all you care about. Focus on yourself. Look in the mirror, take progress pics, be excited about you gaining muscle, losing fat, feeling more confident, feeling better. You're eating healthy. You're working out. You're resting. Everything about your life gets better once you get more committed to the gym. And this is just one aspect of your life. So we want to dial this in. We want to nail it. And then we want to put it on autopilot. Okay. Yeah, that was it.